We got a busy show here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Is Rome Odunze emerging as a potential surprise punt return option? We'll dive into that. A surprise trade for a veteran pass rusher in Cam Heyward. Is that on the table? And Tarik Cohen lands on his feet. We'll tell you where he has signed with later on in the show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. But before we get to all of that, follow me on Instagram at HGramNFL, currently at 7,144 followers. Would love to get to 10,000 by football season. Go ahead and help me out. Got to get to 8K before getting to 10K. So if you want daily Bears content over there as well, at HGramNFL, I'll put the Instagram link in the comments and description of this video. All right, let's talk Rome Odunze and his potential of being this team's punt returner. Rumor out there on the internet that he was returning punts on Tuesday's OTA practice. Daniel Colton with the tweet. Not a Bears reporter or anything, so not sure if he got a scoop from someone inside the building or what. And I do want to emphasize that this is in the rumor category strictly. This has not been confirmed for a couple of reasons. One, yesterday and today, closed practices. Friday is the open practice this week at OTA. So we don't have Brad Biggs, Adam Johns, any of those guys, boots on the ground, actually watching practice. So if this is true, this is leaked out of the building. And two, Rome Odunze has been nursing a bit of a hamstring issue. Flus said they were going to ramp him back up this week, ideally, so he'd be out there, but that wasn't exactly a guarantee. Now, if they are going to go in this direction, he did have an 83-yard punt return last year at Washington in 2023, so he has experience. He would certainly give you more juice at that position that you've had in recent years due to Velus Jones not working out. They had to sign Trent Taylor last year, who was reliable catching the ball, but was kind of the king of the 6-yard return. I could see this being a possibility. Long-term, no. This year, yes, I could see it because at least for this season, unless he surprises us in a good way, which he could, he's going to be wide receiver 3. Like, he'd have to be incredible to unseat DJ Moore or Keenan Allen as one of the top 2 receivers on this team. Not because he's incapable, just because those are 2 of the top 12 receivers in the sport. So, like, if Odunze is more of a factor than them, that means you've got a top 10 receiver on your hands as a rookie, which that's projecting a lot for any rookie wide receiver in the NFL. I'm open to this year for that reason because he is going to be your wide receiver 3. He doesn't have to be a 1,000, 1,200-yard player that plays every single snap. Typically, you don't want your number 1 or even number 2 receiver returning punts. Well, he's not going to be that this year, so I'm open to it. You haven't had juice at the punt return position in several years. It's been a problem. That and center have been your 2 biggest weaknesses for a while, and if he can help you out, even if it's just on a 1-year deal, I would certainly be open to him in that role. Now, you kind of look at some of the other options. You brought back Dante Pettis, who can certainly do the job. Tyler Scott returned a few punts last year. I think he's capable. It looked a little shaky, but he was certainly more reliable catching the ball than Velus Jones. I don't expect Velus back there. They tried it his rookie year. They tried it last year. He kept muffing punts. So I just don't think the Bears are going to kind of have a third time's the charm attitude. I'm sure they'll give him some reps and training camp and maybe in the preseason, but he just doesn't track the ball well. So I don't think you can put him back there, which is a shame because when he gets the ball in his hands, he's very explosive, but if you can't catch it, it doesn't matter. He'll be your kick returner if he makes his team, but I don't think he will be your punt returner, which opens the door for a guy like Rome Odunze to be that guy. Be honest with me, do you want to see Rome Odunze returning punts? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I could see people saying no, like, hey, let's not risk injury to a top 10 pick for returning punts. I like it, or at least am okay with it for his rookie year. Beyond this year, I would not want to see it. But for this year, yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. I'm going to go ahead and type my Y for yes. All right, let's get to the wild portion of the show. Cam Heyward, could he be a potential trade target for the Chicago Bears? This has been labeled as a shocking trade idea per Bleacher Report. Alex Ballantyne cooked this up. He had to say this. He said, Hayward is sitting out the first set of OTAs with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. The veteran has noted that his absence is due to contract negotiations as he looks to cash in one more time before retirement becomes inevitable because he is 35. The Bears are sitting at $22.8 million in cap space and have significant momentum heading into 2024. If the Bears' defensive line can rise to the challenge, the Bears could be one of the most improved teams in the league. Now, the $22.8 million is a little misleading because they haven't signed Caleb Williams or Rome Odunze to their rookie deals yet, so that probably takes out about $10 million, if not a little bit more, as they're both top 10 picks. So let's say you got $13 million to work with. Well, Cam Heyward's cap hit, if traded, is $16 million for any team that trades for him. Doesn't mean the Bears couldn't do it. They would just have to cut a couple of guys that are likely going to get cut anyway, restructure a contract here and there. Maybe you extend Tevin Jenkins, lower his cap hit a little bit this year. Like, they absolutely could make it work. That is just something that you would have to factor in to that. And then obviously there's other factors that come into play. One, coming off a bit of a down year, kind of fought through a groin injury last year for the Steelers, missed 6 games now, 21 and 22. He was awesome, 2 10-plus sack seasons. And there's no doubt he would be a big help on this defense. But should the Bears trade for him? We'll talk about that here in just a second, because coming up next, I'll kind of get into the nuts and bolts of whether or not I would make this move, at least at this point in time, if I were Ryan Poles. But before we get to that, I do want to shout out our sponsor, Prize Picks, here on today's show. The best daily fantasy sports app out there is Prize Picks. And with Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. All you got to do is choose more or less on 2 to 6 players on your entries, and you are locked in. The more players you have in an entry, the more money you can make. Create an account today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS if you're a first-time customer to get a deposit match up to $100. And if you're not into the NBA or NHL playoffs or Major League Baseball, if you're kind of a traditionalist when it comes to fantasy football, well, we got season-long stat projections. You can get some of those season-long plays in there as well. DeAndre Swift, more than 850.5 rushing yards. I like that play. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns for Detroit. He had 10 last year, so I like him to get at least 8. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. Get that $100 deposit match if you haven't created an account up to this point. That link is in the comments and in the description. It's Prize Picks. Go check them out. Let's get back to Cam Heyward. There is no doubt he would help this defensive line. He's been one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL for a long time. You still have question marks. Is Javon Dexter ready for that big leap, or Zach Pickens? And even if you feel like they're ready to take a jump, you have those two and Andrew Billings, then a lot of question marks. I'd feel better if you had a quality 4th defensive tackle in there. You're kind of projecting UDFA Keith Randolph or Byron Coart or Dwumfor, one of these guys to produce, and I think that's asking a lot. That being said, I still think I would pass at least before training camp or the season on this trade, and here's why. Cam Heyward's 35 years old. He probably wants a 2-year extension if he's talking about contract negotiations. I can't imagine that would just be a 1-year extension. So he'll be 35 this year, 2-year extension. He's 37 by the time he's on the last year of that deal. He's probably wanting, I don't know, $18 to $22 million per year, so you'd have to give him a 2-year, $40 million extension perhaps. Like, right now, doing that, him coming off an injury-plagued down year at his age, at that position, feels a little rich. You also have had 2 not-so-great trade with the Steelers up to this point in terms of value. I would reconsider at the trade deadline, like say the Steelers are having a down year and they become sellers and look to move off some of their veteran pieces. Maybe you get him on a buy low rental where you don't commit to an extension. If he plays well, you revisit that after the season. Kind of like what they're doing with Keenan Allen. I don't think they're going to extend him now. They're going to wait and see how the season goes, see where Rome is at and everything before committing to extending a 32-year-old. Bring him in at the deadline. Maybe you get him for like a 3rd or 4th at the deadline as a rental. If he plays awesome, great, you keep him. But right now, if the Steelers are going to move him, they're probably going to ask for a second 35-year-old coming off an injury. I don't know, man. I just don't think that is a wise move if I'm Ryan Poles. Now, should the Bears trade for Cam Heyward? What do you think? Type T for trade, P for pass. I'm typing P for pass. I think for the reasons I just mentioned, there's not enough upside to this move right now. This is a move that a team who, like, for sure feels like they're in the Super Bowl mix this year tries to make. Not saying the Bears couldn't surprise us and be in that mix. Again, let's see where they're at the deadline, see where the Steelers are at. But right now, I would pass on this move for a 35-year-old. Some news in the NFL. Happy to see this. Tarik Cohen, former Bears fan favorite, has signed a 1-year deal with the Jets per Adam Schefter. Not going to spend a lot of time here, but happy to see him land on his feet, get another shot here. You know, when a team like Carolina, who's not very good, cuts you, you're kind of like, man, this could be the end of the road. But he gets another opportunity with the Jets. I think this new kickoff rule gives him a chance to have a role in this league. I'm rooting for him, man, because he's had a ton of injuries on the field. He's had a ton of personal family battles with the situations with his brothers passing. Hopefully he gets back out there, makes the team, and can show something with the Jets. Sucks he's uniting with Aaron Rodgers, but I'd love to see him get an opportunity to play on an NFL team again and see what he can show. All right, that's going to do it. We'll be back later with another episode, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down.